Proceed.
I first of all want to thank everyone for your attention, if not for your vote, and to express appreciation for the time you've devoted to this important subject. But on behalf of the next generation of Californians who will become addicted to nicotine as a result of your vote, recognizing also the bill as it stands now was defeated on the Senate floor. It's dead on arrival in the Senate. I no longer believe in it. None of my sponsors believe in it. The long list of folks I shared with you before you took your vote no longer believe in it. And so I urge your no vote, but I cannot support it any longer. I disassociate myself from it. It's a very dangerous bill now. Children's health will be at risk.
Okay, Senator, do you want to proceed? I take it from your comments that you'd like to...
No, it's not my bill anymore.
...pull the bill from the discussion.
No, the committee has done that already.
Okay, the committee will hold the bill, members, and thank you, Senator, for your...
Well, actually, if you're asking my take, just for sense of completion, I would request a vote on the bill as amended.
Okay. Do we have a motion or a second?
Just as Vice Chair's recommendation, the caucus position will remain a none because there's a fee involved, and there are some other provisions in there that may be of concern, but I will be supporting this bill for now.
Mr. Cooley.
I'll just take the opportunity to speak on this bill briefly. I will not support the bill in this form. I think we as members, our challenge is to tackle the big issues of our day. One of the biggest issues of our day is the rising cost of health care. It touches us in we've added Medi-Cal persons into health care. We've got the Affordable Care Act. If we believe in pension systems, we have other post-retirement benefits. There is a wide array of channels through which the cost of health care runs through our governmental system and jeopardizes all manner of programs and our taxpayers. We had a ballot proposition last November, Proposition 45, that was grappling with the rise in the cost of health care. That was patterned on a measure in 1988 which imposed a system of rate regulation. That's what Prop 45 was based upon. And the only way we dealt with that passage here in California when Prop 103 passed in 1988 was by the legislature and other policymakers in a wide array of discrete areas tackling cost drivers that ran through the insurance system. And 3 years into this process, I definitely try to come to each hearing with an open mind, but I believe the purpose of having an opening mind is to close on something solid. There are two bills on our agenda today which to me address cost drivers in the system. This one and the one that Mr. Senator Hernandez will bring to us very shortly. I think ultimately to deal with cost in the healthcare system, this body, our colleague body, is going to have to look at where are the cost drivers and how do we start to chase them down. And I know from the 1980s that when the legislature acted and started cutting down discrete sources of costs, it is now possible to look back and see how lines came down, costs came down. And I think whether we're on it today, this issue is going to come back to us. We are going to have to grapple with this. It's one of the great public policy challenges of our time. And so I just appreciate the Senator bringing the bill here, having the courage of your convictions. And I think this is a part of a larger conversation on health care costs, and a very important one. There is no silver bullet dealing with health care costs, just as there was no silver bullet dealing with the cost of insurance in the 1980s, but a series of far-sighted, discrete changes to the law that start reining in the dynamics of the cost system transformed our marketplace in the insurance sector, and I think we are going to have to go down that same trail again. So that's sort of behind my approach to this issue today, and I would have to say it's a product of long reflection.
Mr. Levine.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator. Thank you for everyone who participated in today's debate and came and took time out of your lives to participate in this. I was really glad to hear your explanation as to why the amendments were not satisfactory to you. I think that it was a great service to all of us to hear directly from you how you felt about them, why they were poisonous to what you were attempting with this legislation. It was informative, educational, and really when we're talking about these public policy issues that have an impact on public health, as nicotine products have had for far too long on California in a very detrimental way, and that's an understatement, that we need to fully air all of those issues. And so I just, again, want to say thank you. I'm grateful for it. It's challenging to me to walk away from getting something done instead of everything that we wanted to do today. But we need to keep on working on this. And so thank you again for your leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Levine, for your comments, although next time we need to have a tie on to make those comments in committee. Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator, thank you for bringing the bill forward. I came in looking at this issue from a public health standpoint and inclined to support the bill as it stood. From listening to the conversation here and the practical approach of Assemblymember Pereira, looking at it from the standpoint of the 4 amendments, I think 3 of the amendments are good amendments. It reaches to the goals that you've put forward in making sure that we can create as many barriers as possible for children to access these devices. So I would say that 3 of the 4 amendments I am satisfied that have been adopted and will be moving forward with this piece of legislation, whoever decides to carry this forward. But I do believe that there needs to be a bigger discussion and a conversation on Amendment 1 as it relates to the definition. Much of what I've read regarding this industry, these products, more times than not, what we have found is that many of these products do have nicotine. Much of what I have read also indicates that the FDA is moving in the direction of defining this product as a tobacco product. There is federal legislation moving forward to try to grandfather these products prior to that regulation recommendations made by the FDA, which tells me that there is a general sense that it is a tobacco product. Now, what we heard today was that there are some products that do not have nicotine. I think that begs a bigger conversation in terms of how we classify these products and devices. To Mr. Assemblymember Pereira's point, to blanket every single product as a tobacco product may be a challenge. But I'd like to have that conversation. I'd like to have that debate, and I would hope that other members of this committee would as well, because ultimately what we're trying to accomplish is a healthier California. And the laws that have been instituted by the state to do so have proven to do exactly that as it relates to the tobacco laws that we have in place. So I just wanted to make those statements. I have a hard time putting my hands around the fact that we are not going to have the specific conversation about whether or not these products are a tobacco product or not. And, you know, I don't know if there were any doctors here that testified. I got here late to that point, but it may be something that we want to look at moving forward. So, again, thank you for bringing this bill forward.
Thank you, Assemblyman.
Mr. Cooper.
I too want to thank the Senator for bringing this bill forward. I hadn't planned on speaking, But I think Mr. Cooley inspired me. And it is really, in my community, in African American community, Hispanic community, smoking and tobacco use is a big issue. The cancer rates, the health care issues. And, we just passed a toothless bill. I mean, I came here to be a voice of people, and I may not agree all the time with everybody, but really it has no substance in the bill that was just passed. And what my issue is, nicotine's addictive with that. So we all know that, yeah, it's not tobacco, it's still nicotine. And I'll tell you what, you look around America, and we have so many addictions. We're an addictive society. And having worked 10 years in narcotics, I'm not comparing this to drugs, but people do have addictions, and it's nicotine. The bottom line, they're still inhaling it. And like I said, if you want a cessation, I mean, I really don't have a lot of faith in that, to be honest. That's just something that sounds good. Hey, there's no nicotine in it, and it appeals to kids. I'm out in the streets a lot. I see a lot of kids using these. There's an issue with it. And for me to sit here on my hands would be irresponsible. And I really can't do that. And I'm disappointed right now, very disappointed. And, people can turn out and say all they want. And you guys are all adults. You can make your decisions. But kids don't have that decisions, and they don't have the brains or intelligence to figure that out. But it's something cool to use and something cool to do. And that's really what matters. So that for you, your business owners, that's fine, and adults, but it comes down to our kids. And we've seen a marked increase in kids using vape pens. They do it in classrooms because there's no smell. You can't see it. Teachers have their backs turned, and they're doing that. It's going on right now. Go talk to folks in the classroom. They'll tell you this. There's a big issue with that, and it is nicotine. It's addictive. It is a tobacco product. It may not be tobacco, but it's a derivative. So, I mean, some of these things, I'm sitting up here, and to me, it's just disingenuous, some of the things that were said. So, like I said, I hadn't planned on talking, but I can't say how I feel right now. But it is. It's really just toothless up here passing this. And it's about our kids. That's what it drills down to. And we did a great job passing the smoking laws and getting it down and kids getting away from that. This is just another tool. So think about our kids. But I'm just disappointed today.
Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to commend the author for bringing this bill forward. I know that your intentions are altruistic. I've had a chance to sit with both your team and with the opposition. I believe that you've made the best arguments with regards to the science, and I know that you're trying to be helpful. I've been running the Labor and Employment Committee now, and understand that there's been some changes and amendments here that have completely altered the direction that you intend to go towards. I'm not comfortable with those amendments, and I'm going to be voting no per your request. And so I just want to let you know that I don't agree with the way you were treated here today, and you have my support when this bill comes back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Sajian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator. I just hate to see that this comes to an end the way it is. 3 out of 4 is not bad, even though number 1 doesn't meet the satisfaction. It says to satisfy your efforts, but instead of just putting an end to it, and since we're going to hear something from FDA, wouldn't it be worth for you to bring it under reconsideration just as soon as FDA has a ruling on this?
I'm happy to take reconsideration from the committee should the bill, well, no, my bill is already gone and dead, so there's nothing to ask for consideration. You're going to pass the bill as it is now, and I oppose it. As do all of my sponsors, all the health organizations.
I hear you, but
all the law enforcement organizations. They oppose it.
Wouldn't you think that it's at least it's a good step forward with the 3 out of 4?
No, it's a dangerous step forward, which is why not just I, but everybody else who supports the bill now opposes it.
Thank you.
Any further debate or discussion on the issue? Seeing none, do we have a motion or a second? Okay, seeing none, Senator, we'll hold that bill in committee.
All right. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you. Mr. Hadley, good to meet you too. I'm not on TV this time.
Okay, members. Let's please keep decorum in the committee room. Please exit Members, we're going to move to item 6. Senator Wolk, please approach and present.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. 462 adds the Green Music Center on the Sonoma State campus to the list of facilities in existing law that are allowed to sell advertising space, allows them to accept donated beer and wine, and recognize those entities that make donations, provided that a temporary license has been issued by ABC. 462 will enable the Green Music Center to increase sponsorships, increase fundraising to critical components of a successful performing arts venue. The bill has received bipartisan support, no opposition, and I have some witnesses, Andrew Martinez and Tim Lynch, to testify in support of the bill and answer any questions. I ask for your aye vote.
Move the bill.
We have a motion and a second.
Andrew Martinez, California State University, in support of the bill. Thank you.
Tim Lynch, here not on behalf of any client, but on a personal interest in the Green Music Center, and we support the bill as well.
Wonderful. Any opposition? Seeing none, do we have a motion and a second? Motion, Mr. Jones-Sawyer, second by Ms. Campos. Secretary, please call the roll.
Gray.
Aye.
Gray, aye. Linder. Aye. Linder, aye. Shajian. Shajian, aye. Alejo. Alejo, aye. Bigelow. Bigelow, aye. Campos. Campos, aye. Cooley. Cooley, aye. Cooper. Daly. Daly, aye. Christina Garcia. Christina Garcia, aye. Eduardo Garcia. Eduardo Garcia, aye. Gibson. Hernandez. Jones Sawyer. Aye. Jones Sawyer, aye. Levine. Mays. Aye. Mays, aye. Perea. Aye. Perea, aye. Salas. Steinnorth. Aye. Steinnorth, aye. Waldron. Waldron, aye. Wilk. Wilk, aye.
Okay, Senator, that bill is out.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members.
Okay, we'll now move to item 11, Senator Vidak. Welcome, Senator.
Welcome. Good afternoon. Mr. Chair and members, Senate Bill 692 establishes regulations for former members and employees of the California Gambling Control Commission or Bureau of Gambling Control.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Bigelow, second by Mr. Wilton. Would you like to close?
I ask for your aye vote.
Support and opposition.
Jarrett Blondin, Communities for California, and strong support. Thank you.
Okay, Secretary, please call the roll.
Gray.
Aye.
Gray, aye. Linder. Aye. Linder, aye. Ashajian.
Aye.
Ashajian, aye. Alejo. Alejo, aye. Bigelow. Bigelow, aye. Campos. Campos, aye. Cooley. Cooley, aye. Cooper. Daly. Daly, aye. Christina Garcia. Christina Garcia, aye. Eduardo Garcia. Eduardo Garcia, aye. Gibson. Hernandez. Jones Sawyer. Jones Sawyer, aye. Levine. Mays. Mays, aye. Perea. Perea, aye. Salas. Steinnorth. Steinnorth, aye. Waldron. Waldron, aye. Wilk. Wilk, aye.
Okay, Senator, that bill is out.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time we'll move to item 8. Chairman Hall, would you like to approach and present?
Thank you. I moved the bill and would like to be a co-author.
We have a motion from Mr.
Since I'm the
Jones-Sawyer.
original author.
Second by Mr. Shajian.
I certainly appreciate that, and certainly co-authors are indeed welcome. SB 557 would amend ABC Tight House provisions to include the Del Mar Fairgrounds on this list of exemptions in the law, thereby allowing the fairgrounds to develop certain alcoholic beverage sponsorships with various manufacturers and distributors. Such an exemption would put the fairgrounds and the racetrack on an even playing field with our arenas and stadiums in California and help.
Senator, you have a motion in a second.
I know exactly how this goes. I respectfully, that's Senate, I tell you.
Wait a minute.
I respectfully ask for an
I did it for charitable raffles, not for the other one.
Do we have
what are we talking about? I thought it was charitable raffles.
SB 557.
Mr. Jones Sawyer is reconsidering his
item 9.
co-authorship. Do we have support
557.
for the legislation?
Sean Flanagan on behalf of the 22nd DAA. We thank the author and the chairman and the committee for their hard work on this bill and ask for strong support. Thank you.
Additional support.
Margot Parks on behalf of the Family Winemakers of California and support.
You're on the other bill. Just stay here, though. Just stay here.
Okay. Do we have any opposition?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
State the bill, SB 557.
Okay, members, we're voting on SB 557. Secretary, please call the roll.
Gray.
Aye.
Gray, aye. Linder. Ashajian.
Aye.
Ashajian, aye. Alejo. Alejo, aye. Bigelow. Bigelow, aye. Campos. Campos, aye. Cooley. Cooper. Cooper, aye. Daly. Cristina Garcia. Cristina Garcia, aye. Eduardo Garcia. Gibson. Hernandez. Jones Sawyer. Jones Sawyer, aye. Levine. Mays. Mays, aye. Perea. Perea, aye. Salas. Steinnorth. Steinnorth, aye. Waldron. Waldron, aye. Wilk. Wilk, aye.